and welcome. My name is Monica, and today we're making a zine-inspired poster by hand. Well, mostly by hand. I made this piece in Illustrator and Photoshop a little while ago, and I wanted to see if I could make it by hand, because it was pretty simple layer-wise. There's not, too many things going on. It should be easy to do. So I figured, why not? I just wanted to have fun with it. Nothing precise, no grids. So why a zine? Well, I wanted to make a series of posters of lyrics that, the visual style wasn't affiliated with the genre of music at all. So I chose a lyric from Trillville song, which is a rap hip hop group, and I chose zine because just for some reason I just pictured cutout lips over cutout type and stuff like that. I thought that would be fun. So that's what we're doing. So the history of zines goes back to 1700, and I'm just kidding. So here are the layers we're working with. Newspaper background, a layer that you're going to put your type on, the type, all little characters, and whatever embellishments that you want to use. So in this case, because of the lyrics, I'm using lips. So what you'll need is a newspaper or background that you like, regular copy paper, some type. Since I already did this on the computer, I just kept the type. I wasn't going to cut out and figure out what looked good, with magazines and stuff like that. I already did the work for the digital one, so I'm just keeping those. I can't remember what fonts I used because I put everything in outlines, but I used, I think, 2 different sans serifs, a serif, a slab serif, a black letter, and an outline, and the color paper that you want. Scissors or an X-Acto knife. I just used an X-Acto knife. Some kind of adhesive. I used a glue stick, but after kind of Googling more collage type stuff, there's this thing called matte medium, which a lot of people use. So if you have that, you can use that. I think some people use Mod Podge. So I needed a camera and a printer and a photo editing software. I used Photoshop. But if you want to do this completely all by hand, then just do that. Grab magazines, printed material, just, cut out stuff from that. Then you don't need any of the electronic stuff. As far as the camera, I just used my phone because I figured, well, this isn't a historically accurate situation because dealing with the DSLR, trying to take selfies, I can't see the angle like I could with my phone, so I just used my phone. I know I said to grab some newspaper, but if you don't like anything that is out there, you can always make your own, which is what I did. I found an article off of medium.com that was about hip-hop, and I found a little blurb about hip-hop from the Library of Congress's website. So I just copied and pasted those in a format that I liked. That was pretty much the same as the digital piece. Threw a blur on there, printed it out, and tea stained it so it looked aged. I just used 2 tea bags and just kind of blotted them on there, painted them on there, and waited for it to dry. And here I'm just marking on the backer paper that we're going to put the type on, kind of how large I want it and where I want the rips to be. And my camera was being funky, so I couldn't get most of the footage of me cutting out all these letters. But here's cutting out all the letters. And I set it up on the backer paper just to kind of get an idea of composition and where I want it on the page, the spaces between everything and whatnot. And I put the little song attribution in the corner, and then I could build off of where that is, where I want to put the rest of the type. And then ultimately the lips that are going to be around everything. So I'm just gluing stuff down. If you use glue sticks, your hand will end up being just covered in glue and kind of slimy in a way. So you'll have to just keep a damp rag near you so you can just kind of wipe off your fingers. Otherwise, you're going to get glue goop all over the place, and that kind of ended up happening to me. It doesn't look terrible, and you don't really notice it in the scan. So I took pictures of my lips, pulled them into Photoshop, did a halftone situation. There's plenty of tutorials out there. I just did something simple. They're not as detailed as the other ones that I used for the digital piece, but I'm happy with how these turned out. I thought that printing these on regular paper and then painting them would work, but it looked like a doo-doo clown mess. So I ended up having an epiphany that maybe I should just print these on colored paper. And that made more sense. And that worked. So that's what I did. And then I cut everything out. So I laid out the lips, I glued them on, and then I realized that I didn't like how they were laid out because they weren't visually appealing. So I moved the one pair of lips, but I ended up having like a distressed area from where it was and I couldn't fix it. So what I did was I just used some sandpaper to distress it more, and then I put another little spot so that it didn't look like it was just one spot, so it kind of looked maybe intentional, and I liked how it turned out. So I was going to make a copy on my printer to see how everything looked flat, kind of like how a zine would look once everything was, packaged up and whatnot. But I figured that would totally obliterate my ink cartridges, so I wasn't going to do that. So I just scanned it in instead, and I like the look of it. It's a little different from the digital, obviously. You can see them both next to each other. I like aspects of both, but I liked how the handmade one turned out. So after making and filming this piece, I really enjoyed the collage process. I felt more connected with the piece since I was using my hands, not to dunk on digital artists because I've done digital stuff. This is the first time I thought of doing it by hand since Design 101 a bajillion years ago. And that took me back to college. So it was kind of fun. It's kind of nostalgic in a way. And since making this, I've had some fun just making more collage. Just some of them mean something, some of them are just pretty. I think it's fun to change up your medium, kind of keeps your brain going. You've added another skill or medium to your arsenal, and you just start thinking kind of differently about things creatively. It was nice to not be doing stuff on the computer the whole time. I like that little change up. So I think that's it for now. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Are you gonna try and make something with your hands if you're strictly digital, or if you've been strictly digital for a while? I think you should. All right, see you in the next one.